fun stuff, fun stuff. So, um, PDAC, January 23rd, 2024, so easy. Thank you everybody for being here and everybody who's with us online. So I see Kirsten and Laura. Who else do we have? Here we go. Carl Rothbart, and then we've got NCTV 71. So I sent around the minutes of our last meeting, our September 6th meeting. While a few of us met in October, we didn't have enough people to have a quorum. So we were unable to approve these minutes of September 6th. So, and you're not officially voting yet. We're going to get you and Kirsten are going to be appointed at the next Board of Selectmen meeting. But for those of us that are here, do we have a motion? Oh, secretary note. She's my right and left hand. So a motion on the September 6th meeting. Dan, second. Hey, Nancy, all in favor? All right, I'm assuming Laura's Laura is, I don't know what it's doing. I have a phone. Probably yelling at me about something.
Oh, have your phone.
Have my phone, please. Yep. Okay. So having said that, we have a number of things to cover because we haven't been together for a while. I thought what we would do is just, I gave a quick rundown. I sent you all, Luke's not on it. Okay, so we're gonna have to skip over our update on the Playhouse. And Susan Schweitzer's not here either, right?
Short meeting.
Nancy, no, we've got a lot to go over, but do you want to just give an update on what's happening over there with you?
Sure. Many of you probably may know about this because the Sentinel did a big story and Mike Dinan did a big story, and then we've also presented it. But the New Canaan Historical Society is working on something called the Campus Reimagined Project. It's a $2 million campaign, has 4 components to it. I have my pictures for one of them. Where are they? The first part of it is, for those of you that know the space, the library in our main town hall is being torn apart. It's going to be 1,000 square foot exhibit space, and it will be a permanent exhibition on the history of New Canaan. We're working with Metcalf, who are some exhibit designers out of Philadelphia. They've been amazing. And RLMG is the media group out of Watertown, Massachusetts. And that will open. It's funded primarily by Jim and Dee Dee Bartlett. And so it will be the Bartlett Center. And it will be dedicated on May 31st of this year. The other thing we have done is the Rogers Studio. For those of you that don't know, the Rogers Studio was built in 1875, and it was New Canaan's first landmark building. It was dedicated in 1966 by the Department of Interior for its ability to reflect American culture. That's what the landmark designation is. The next one in New Canaan was the Glass House, which was 30 years later. So that one, we didn't wait for the capital campaign because there was a leak. Actually, Carl, you said Carl Rothbart's on the phone. He did the architectural designs. It has been renovated, or I should say restored, because it hasn't been changed. It's just been, there was a lot of rotting wood, there was a leak in skylight, there was problems with it. And we're now working on the interior exhibit space. It's been painted. We are about to order the pedestals, and it will be a display on the life and work of John Rogers. It has always displayed the Rogers groups, but it really hasn't told the story of him. And so you needed to have a docent, or you needed to have someone walk you through and tell you. This way, with signs and with labels on the sculpture and with the groups and with some stuff from our permanent collection, it will tell his story for visitors. The third thing we're working on is more archival storage for our clothing and textile collection. For those of you that have seen that collection, it's a 6,000 piece collection, and it's packed into our 3rd floor. And unfortunately, some of the dresses really can't be hung. They're too heavy, and the fabric is fragile, especially if there's any kind of bead work or that kind of stuff. So the idea is to restore some space. We actually have a 4th floor. It's in the attic, and that will be renovated and have climate control, and we can move the military uniforms and some of the children's clothes, some stuff like that, that's more discrete collections. We'll move those up there, and then there'll be more space to work on the women's stuff, spread it out. And then, of course, the big plan is to build a new building. Our tool museum, which was originally a garage for the Hanford Tillman House when there were owners, it's called the Tool Museum. It is really not an ideal museum space. It's not climate controlled, it's not moisture controlled, it's not critter controlled. One of the things we have in there is a corn sheller. So whenever you demonstrate taking the corn kernels off the cobs, you get squirrels. So that building is coming down, and it's going to be the Special Collections Museum, named in honor of Jim Bach. For those of you who know him, he's a 90-plus-year-old resident. He's been a longtime supporter of the Historical Society. This is an honorary dedication to him, and he was completely thrilled when we surprised him with that news. I have a couple of pictures. So this is the building from Owen-Oak Ridge. We've gone through the Historic District Commission and gotten a certificate of appropriateness. We've gone through P&Z and gotten permission to move forward with very limited conditions. There's one condition about a planting here that will be a river birch, that's not shown on the drawing, on the rendering. So this is the museum.
The glass. And what's going to be? Is there something specific?
That's what I'm getting to.
Oh.
So it's the Special Collections Museum. So it's kind of three special collections. The first is we were gifted / dumped on an 1860 carriage that manufactured by the Demarest Company out of New York. It had been sort of abandoned at the Stanford dump, and we got there and took it out. The lanterns had been stolen, and the upholstery was all probably eaten away. But the little bubble with the curved glass that if you envision Cinderella in her little carriage, that's all intact from 1860. So we brought it up to Dragone Classic Motor Cars in Orange, and they have spent 18 months, and it's absolutely beautiful. They found lanterns. The original ivory handles are intact. The brass was all intact. They had to replace the leather, but they found an embosser that turns leather into like alligator, because that's how they did it in 1860. They didn't use alligator, but it had that kind of like texture on it.
Yeah.
So it's really amazing. And
Did you say whose carriage it was?
it was Stephen Hoyt. It was given to him when he retired from being president of the New Haven Railroad.
Oh.
So its last run was to deliver his daughter to her wedding in Darien. So we have that back. Dragone is holding on to it until this building is built, but that will sit in the window with, we're working with the funder. I think there's going to be some storyboards and things on the walls behind it about sort of like Carl Chevrolet and Johnson's Garage and some of the sort of historic transportation related businesses in town. The middle section of the building will be our print shop. We have the only Hoacorn press in Connecticut, and so it's operational. It's beautiful. We have some print blocks, including one of the Glass House. We have some really incredible fonts, and right now it's not operational, but it can be. So the middle part will have a sink and some ways to clean the ink, and we will have a workshop there. And then the far end, which is my picture here, is some gallery space that will be dedicated to the artists of the Silvermine Art Colony. And this building here is the studio of Addison Millar, who was one of the founders of the colony. It was given to us by the, well, it's kind of a long story, but by the current owners, and it's being moved from its location on Mill Road. So RLMG, which is the media designers, have built this kind of incredible console that will have little biographies and images of the work of all of the Silvermine artists, not just the founders, but all 28 that were part of the original art colony. And so people can stand there and sort by whatever they want to sort by and see things. And then there will also be exhibit space, not only for our collection, but there's a lot of people in New Canaan that have very significant collections of Silvermine artists. So we can loan them, we can share, we can do all kinds of stuff. So that's our Campus Reimagine project. The completion date is December 2024. So
Right
we're
around the
moving
corner.
very fast. We feel like we're both providing a lot for a little bit of money and we're moving very quickly. So we will dedicate the Bartlett Center in May, the Rogers Studio probably at the same time, and then this will open in December.
I think what was important was when you came to Nancy's presented at all three town council, board of finance, and board of selectmen recently. Same update, but one of the things that you said that struck me, and it relates so much to our work here, is that based on your financial constraints right now, you really can't operate like you would a normal museum that you'd open all the time,
Right,
right? I
right.
mean, and you want it to be open, and you want people to just stop on by and not have to, do the hours that are currently because there's just so limited staff.
Yeah, right now we have a full-time staff of 2.
Mhm.
And so every time, if we do a program, it's mostly on the weekend, so we're open for those. But ideally, we would have these buildings open with docents in them, whether some of those could be volunteer, some of those could be staff. But part of the reason that we've asked the town for money is just increase staff so that we can be open. Ideally, we would be open a regular Saturday and then a Sunday afternoon.
So right now, the town of New Canaan supports them $25,000 a year. They asked if that could be increased to, you said 80, which was
Yeah, it was 20% of our budget.
20% of the budget. So that's going through the budget process right now, but that certainly is a hope and a dream to be able to have it open more.
Yeah.
And certainly with these new buildings and all the programs that you've got going on. So
And even now we're supposed to be closed on Mondays and just so we have a day to organize things as staff. And yesterday we probably had 30 people coming through because we don't lock the doors. So they don't see that it says closed and they just come on in and we welcome them and do the best that we can.
Right.
So but we really do need more bodies. And I feel like also all of these new exhibit spaces are the idea is that they're self-guided. So we just really need people to welcome people and send them in the right direction because then they can learn for themselves. And we can build on all of this. I mean, we can do audio tours, we can do all kinds of stuff. We have a QR code of our Cody Pharmacy right now. So I mean, we can build on that kind of stuff once it's all up and running.
I have a question though, and Kirsten may be able to answer this if she can hear me, but are the docents paid, or are they volunteers, or is it a little bit of both? I mean,
Our school tour
Our educators are fully paid.
they are fully paid. Okay.
Yeah.
and ours are our school tour docents are mostly volunteers, but we have some that ask to be paid, so then we pay them.
And the other thing that came up was just that the New Canaan Public Schools aren't really bringing the kids to the Historical Society anymore for a variety of reasons. A lot of it was just financial because to hire a bus to take the kids a mile up the road seemed like a big ask, but we talked about that at the town meetings too, and we'd love to see more of that.
Yeah, because we get over 1,200 students a year. It's just they're not from New Canaan.
Wow.
We have the same. You do too. Yeah.
Is there a
interesting.
cost to get it?
We also haven't done
What's
a
it
huge.
officially?
Here's the thing about everything at the Historical Society. There is a cost and then there's the cost. Because we have said it's $5 a student, but no charge for chaperones or teachers or anything like that. But then we have some schools that are the ones that qualify for free lunch, and they say we don't have that, and so they come. Like it's very hard for me to turn anybody away, and I feel like the kids that come are so excited to be there that the idea that we're not going to have them there for $150 or whatever the total cost would be for that class just doesn't make sense. Yes. It's moved downstairs. So that's already completed. We were able to get almost as many bookshelves in there as upstairs. There are some books. There's both some periodicals that are now fully digitized, so we don't need to have them out. And there's some books that I'm not quite sure why they're there, like books about Ohio and books about Montana and some things that we're hoping that as we're actually moving, we can just get the relevant books downstairs. So we're pretty confident that we can fit. The other thing is that the most important kind of research tools are our land records and the subject files, and those will all go down. There's a room next to the library that those will go into. Yeah. And also homeowners too come a lot. I've just bought this house. Do you have a history of this house kind of thing? Yeah,
Just pointed out that they really serve as a function of being a historian for the town. I mean, they've got all that information and all the archives and everything, so.
and I will, I just want to tell this little anecdote. So today I was looking for something in the Cody Pharmacy and I mean, literally you come and you open a drawer and you don't know what you're gonna find. I found this bottle, it's called Dr. Flint's Quaker Bitters. It turns out it's in the Smithsonian. And one of the bottles, ours is in pristine condition, and one of them just sold at auction for $3,400 for this little bottle of medicine. And it has this whole rich history, and it was just in a drawer. So, I mean, that's the kind of thing that if we had more bodies and we could find more treasures, yeah. I know. Along with some critters.
So I just wanted Nancy to give an update. I don't know if anybody else has got any other questions, but it's a very cool project that's coming along and certainly has a lot to do with what we're doing. I see we have Mr. Luke Parker Bowles on. Let me just see if I can make you. Luke, are you you need to unmute. All right, hold on. Looks like you need me to ask you to unmute. All right, ask to unmute.
Tucker, you're always in control of everything.
There you
It's
go.
really, really frustrating. Hi, everybody.
Let me just quickly introduce you. So this is Luke Parker Bowles. He is one of the partners of Cinema Lab that's taking over the Playhouse. And I thought, being that things are really moving along there, that it was another important update to hear from Luke and what Luke has got going on. And I can fill you in a little bit on the town side. So Luke, you want to take them through where we are?
Sure. Well, hello, everyone. Hello, Laura. Hello, Kirsten. Hello, Carl, who we can't see. Hello, gang. We are moving at a pace. I'd actually love to give you guys a little sneak peek tour, which maybe we can organize for next week. Those of you who haven't seen it. We already have our elevator in. We already have, oh man, there's so much. It's so hard. I could tell you, but you have to see it. Like
Organize a tour. That's a good idea.
yeah. Yeah, see, that's you cutting me off so I don't just waffle on for 20 minutes. You're very good. You're quite right, Tucker. But it's really great. The pub has already got the bar in it, which we sourced from a place in Pennsylvania, which is Mahogany. It's beautiful. We're rocking and rolling, I have to say. And Bill Osterman is a little bit of a legend.
Why don't you tell them about the club? How that's going?
The club, well, it's not a club, it's called a lounge. We don't, it's not some exclusive thing.
Right.
So the lounge, so memberships are open now. We've had a hell of a lot of applications, but we obviously want this to be as wide and varied as possible. So the club, very briefly, can I share my screen?
What?
Can I share my screen?
Oh, sure. Your accent throws me. Hold
Yes,
on.
it does. I know. It's adorable.
All right, I'm making you, it's adorable. Okay, you are now co-host.
All right, I'm gonna try this. This might be bad. There may be something, there's nothing weird on here, I promise you. Although I say that, I don't really know. I've no idea what's going on here. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to stop sharing because, okay. Anyway, very briefly, there is, as a member, you get so many things. Oh, you obviously get access to the second floor. You get access to, which is going to be beautiful, will be
Luke,
a
your hand
lounge
is,
area.
Luke, your hand is all over the screen.
I have big hands, all right? Very big hands. So yes, it is a lounge area upstairs. It will be an event space until 6 in the evening. Then from 6 until 12, it will be a members lounge. As we all know, if you don't get home by 8, good luck getting food anywhere. So we have a partnership with Elm Restaurant, and you will be able to have a special menu, which has been designed by Luke Venner from Elm, and a drink and a chat and a laugh. It will also be, there'll be a lot of private events. We've already got, I think, Jane Benton, who is our partner on this with the events. I think already has about 30 people who've reached out for events. We are trying to make sure that we don't completely fill up the calendar, because after all, there is a membership lounge, but somebody's already asked to take over the entire place for an entire weekend to do a haunted house weekend. So I think it's bonkers, but we'll take the money. So that's good. Birthday parties, lots of kids' birthday parties. They watch a movie, they take over one of the theaters, and then they go upstairs and they have their birthday cake up there. So that's good. The state just awarded the town $2 million, as you will probably know, because they believe that this project is crucial and is a reflection of beautifying historical buildings in Connecticut. And they consider this to be a great example. I take no credit for that. I didn't build the thing. But so that's very, very good. A couple of other things. We are playing movies, first run movies, but we're also playing independent movies. We're also doing matinees. We're partnering with different charities and institutions to do different things. There we are having local vendors. We're going to do partnerships with them. So I realize I'm presenting a smorgasbord, but that's really what the Playhouse is about. The Playhouse is not a movie theater. The Playhouse is an experience. It is the best version of a community center you can imagine. You can go in there and you can have a coffee in the morning. I think we're going to partner with Dolce on that, to be confirmed. And you can read the newspaper, do your emails. The movies start at 11. The pub opens at 12. And yeah, it's really going to be amazing. And I say that not being arrogant, because there are people in my group who are far more able and capable than me. I am only CEO because of my accent. So it adds
Luke,
some sort of authority.
I'm going to interrupt you and just give everyone a quick update on where we are in terms of, the timing, yeah. So originally, there were some delays with the cost overruns and that kind of thing, but we've caught up. And at one point we were looking at June, but now it's looking more like April, right? Luke?
Well, yeah. I mean, I got an email today. It's a day by day process.
It is.
Um,
So there were some-
I am trying to get if I pull it off, it will be huge, but a very substantial movie premiere to open the Playhouse with some big names, which is at the end of April. And what they will do is the studio is going to provide the talent and a lot of money, because they feel like this is the way that movie theaters are going. People don't want to be going to big boxes anymore. And this is a beautiful backdrop for a film that may or may not have Ryan Reynolds in it and Steve Carell. And oh my God, I said it. I'm not going to say anymore. So anyway, yes.
Yeah, so the point is that Luke has been doing this for a long time, has the connections, but I really think, again, for our purposes, I think, this project, I think that's what the state recognized with the $2 million. I think that that's what the town bodies with, coming up with $8 million to bring that building back up to speed. But I think it was the whole vision and the whole partnership with CinemaLab, and I think it's going to be an absolute game changer for downtown. Yeah, so it's very exciting.
And two other things I'll just say is that one of them is that this is not just going to be New Canaan. You've got to remember that. I mean, I sort of pinch myself. There are 6 towns within 20 miles that have all lost their movie theaters. One of them's an AT&T store. One of them's and obviously there are a couple of 501c3s there. But this is going to be huge, and that's why the onus is on us to make sure that the experience is incredible. So that's really, really what we're focused on, because this is gonna bring a lot of business into New Canaan. So that's the first thing, and then the second thing, and then I'll shut up. I swear, English people just don't know what full stops.
Bring all the time.
the-
Viewed him at times, and he would get mad at me. He would text.
I
me,
know,
"You
I
just
know. It
viewed me,"
wasn't
and I'm like, I
important.
did.
Oh, the other thing really importantly is, since this is the tenor of what we're talking about, is that at every point we have endeavored, and Carl will be able to attest to this, that we are using any original elements of the Playhouse that we can possibly restore and put in there. So we are getting the original sign cleaned up. We are going to repurpose that old box office window in some way, shape, or form. As much exposed brick as we can have. I mean, it's 100 years old. Why not? But you know, there will be, to those of you who are in this area, there will be winks and nods throughout the building, showing that we're not just some AMC crap hole, but that we've actually lent into the community, and I think it'll give you all a bit of a giggle. So I'll end on giggle.
Do you,
Eagle.
Dan, do you have something you want to say?
Yeah, I just, as we're continuing the rest of this meeting, is the work that you're doing there, and the interest, the attention, the detail that has been put into this project is actually so exciting for this town. And I think that should be, I wrote a note down, it should be either a guidepost or a model for TDAC as to how we should really do what we want to do to impact this town. And not only the community, the retailers. I think everyone's going to get this lift of not just a look of who New Canaan is, but an actuality. And I think that can ripple through many different aspects, and I just had a history lesson that I was like, wow, I'd like to go see that entire project that you're working on, Nancy. And so there's so much here. And I think individuals know bits and pieces, but some of our own residents don't know it.
Right.
And then you go to those surrounding towns and those people who love to venture to other towns to find these amazing finds. And what you've described to me is an amazing find.
Well,
What
it'll be
you've
so
done with
unique.
it.
It'll be so unique to the.
Yeah.
And that's massively appreciated. And I listen, I only wish that message could get out more. I've done 3 interviews with 3 of what I would quote unquote the most prominent newspapers in town, and people still come by and go, is it happening? Is it happening? I guess people have just been hurt before, but any word you can get out there that this baby is coming, and that it is about, we can't do all things for all people, but we are very much, if there's a fit with a local business, we're up for it. Let's try it. Let's do local breweries. Let's do local, whatever it is, we're up for it. But spread the word, please.
Well, you've already obviously set up the model of doing that, the partnerships with the others. And Alan Magrino is sitting over here, who's got a very successful PR company, and she's got a zillion ideas.
Yeah,
so-
I mean, it's a great story about the revitalization of America's downtown. Not
Yeah.
everybody's shopping online. I mean, you could really put it out there as something as part of like a journal story or a morning show. I did want to ask about the lounge. That's an interesting.
Yes.
Like when I didn't know that. When
Oh.
did that get announced and how?
Always was. part of
Okay,
the
and
plan.
how is it people being vetted? What's the membership fee? How exclusive
Yep,
is it?
like,
That's
I'll give you a short version of it. So the reason for the lounge is it was part and parcel of the fact that as I mentioned, people had talked about the fact that there was nowhere, if they had a client in town or if they'd gone to dinner and really wanted to show off the place, there was nowhere else to go. And also there's nowhere to go just to have a little bit of peace. So it seemed that this notion of a lounge, and I sort of look at it not like a Soho House type thing. I look at it like a sort of a Delta lounge, for lack of a better expression, in the sense that, you know, you with your membership, you get discounts from the movie theater, you get access to the lounge, you get one free theater a year to yourself that you can have a party at or show a movie as a member. One, you know, you get 50% off concessions. You get this whole load of stuff. If you go to Cinema Lab and look at the Playhouse page, you'll see what it's all about. The goal is not to be, God knows there are enough clubs, and you guys all know that with the country club and everything. That's not what we're trying to do. We're just trying to provide a respite for a whole host of different people. And when you ask a very good point, which is, you ask a very good question, which is, you know, what are the requirements for membership, or how would you get picked? And this is what I say to my membership team, it is diversity without being all things to all people, right? We want to provide, we want people from the arts to have access. We want people from local business. That's a huge thing, right? We want there to be a smorgasbord of different people up there who actually are going to use it. And actually it's going to be able to enhance their business by saying, hey, come up to the club and let me show off New Canaan to you, because this is the 50-yard line. And you can look out that window and you can see the activity. And I think that will also, from the reverse standpoint, for people coming to New Canaan and seeing the activity, not only upstairs, but downstairs with the pub and with the concessions lounge, all those windows are going to be exposed. So you will just see this, everyone laughing, I hope laughing, not crying, but it will just add this boost to the place. And I think that if you see the designs, I've nearly finished, Tucker, I swear. When you see the renderings, if you haven't already, which I'm sure you have, you'll get a sense of the look and feel. And it's very much a sort of English country house type feel, as is the pub, which is going to be sort of, obviously, when you have 3 members of your company who are English. But it's going to be something very different. It's not going to be Uncorked, and God bless Uncorked, but this is the opposite. This is corked. So yes, I'll shut up now.
How are we telling the story? I mean, this is a big
It's
story.
been in,
I know, but is there somebody on your side, Luke, that's managing the message? Because I think you're going to have
Yeah,
something. You can't just-
there is a rollout. So we have a company called Hiltzik Strategies, who
Oh,
are
yeah.
very,
Okay.
very, very good. Matt Hiltzik is our guy. And so Joe Scarborough has taken a big interest in this and is going to have me on, or actually is going to come up and do a piece when it's just before it's ready to open. So we're going to be on Morning Joe. The town will be on Morning Joe. And also they did a profile on us on the Today Show.
I saw that.
So Jenna Bush is going to come up for the opening. And there are also other people who are asking stuff. The fact is that I'm very conscious that people say, why isn't there an Instagram page? There's 3 reasons. I know I'm talking for a long time. I'm sorry. 3 reasons. One is that there's not enough content when you're in construction to put stuff on an Instagram page. The second thing is that we want to keep it as a bit of a surprise. And thirdly, it opens you up to a barrage, which I'm sure none of you have seen on any social media in New Canaan, to being attacked and made to feel awful about your life. So there is a mystery behind it. So we are with our PR strategy, we are trying to give a little taste at each point, but make sure that it's the residents of New Canaan who actually get the first real experience. And I think that's, you know, my certain people think that's the wrong way to do it. They think we should just be, you know, doing profiles with loads of people now and showing the process. I firmly disagree. I think there are very few things in the world now which are kept secret, particularly with social media. So here comes the end of my sentence. That is how we are going to do it.
So we're gonna invite you back to our March 6th meeting and you're gonna give us an update on how everything's going. Okay?
I would love it, Tucker.
And
and you
in
can,
between now and then, I'm gonna organize a time for us all to come over on a tour. You're typically here on Fridays, right?
yeah, Friday's really good.
Yeah, Friday's
So,
Friday.
yeah, find one. I mean, anytime, just so we can get back to the Jers in the car by 3:30. Anytime before that, just let me know.
All right. All right,
And
thank
we
you,
have, and
Luke.
by the way, sorry, we also have, which you'll receive when you're there, we have our, can you see that? Shitty,
No.
oh, my hands. Okay, wait, I put it on my head. Put it on my head.
It's a playhouse. Yep, everybody will get one. Thank
They're
you, Luke.
beautiful. Thank you. Sorry, I'm so boring.
No,
And have a
you're
lovely
great.
night. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, see ya.
Sorry, this is the awkward bit.
No, we capped at 50, but the first day they rolled out, there were 60 applications already in, was my understanding.
So it's $1,500 a year.
It's no,
to
it's
get-
1,500 for the initiation and then it's 300.
And then,
1,500
okay, okay.
initially.
So it's $1,800 a year after that.
No,
If
it's
that's-
it's
no,
300 a month.
300 a month.
It's
Oh, no,
Well,
3,600, yeah.
Plus
36.
5,100.
You know, it's funny, because in the beginning meetings, I thought it was different. than that.
It did, there was a lot of different scenarios. Well, so it's still gonna be available to, as he said, for town groups who want to go up there and that kind of thing, but it'll also be, there's sort of two parts to it, but the club, the lounge portion is gonna be mostly into the evenings, you know,
And
and.
that's just a small part of the building. The restaurant will always be.
Oh, yeah, the
open.
pub downstairs will always be open, and as he said, which happens at some of these other theaters, people will come and not even go to the theater,
Yeah.
just to come in and just sit there and
And
have
there's 2 theaters, all right?
two theaters. Yeah, still 2 theaters.
So where is the club? Where your office was on the second?
Whole
floor?
upstairs now was opened up. Yes, so remember New Canaan Cares had one half,
Right.
mine half, and then there was that shared conference room in the middle. You remember that shared conference room had a brick wall, so that all came, they exposed, there was some plaster on that as well, but they exposed all of that. That's where the bar is gonna be. But the whole upstairs will be, and there'll be an elevator that will take you up.
You know, it does seem like a change from the beginning, and I just wondered if there'd been any blowback for the expense and exclusivity.
The expense of the lounge. They're a tenant, you know, I mean, we said we're gonna make the 4 walls, it's your business model. I mean, there was a business model that was presented that everybody seemed to be enthusiastic about, but as they proceeded down the road, they came up with this new model. So in terms of the blowback, it's just, you know, it's on them. If it's not successful, it's on them. Yeah,
Yeah, only because is it not a town building?
it is. We own it, but they're a tenant.
It's a lease.
Yeah.
So they can do whatever.
Building, like
Yeah.
other buildings.
Yeah, like every, yeah. Yeah.
Space.
Right, so, anyway. All right, moving right along. Dan, you want to sort of bring us up to speed on where we left off with our brainstorming session? It was a long
Well, I
time
know
ago.
we just had some very good open dialogue of what do we want it to be, and actually for myself, I mean, what's happening with the Historical Society and what's happening, you know, what has always been happening, but now we have some exciting things. With, you know, the theater, Playhouse has always been the focal point of this town. And it truly is going to go through a transformation, which is going, that's amazing. And I just think that we had a lot of great ideas on how we can concentrate our efforts to really the retail, the downtown sector. And I think there's lots of ways you can repeat sharing ideas, people stopping and thinking now with more information is what do we want to be? What is some, you know, ideas that we could share with each other and see if there's anything that resonates with the majority of us, or people like, oh my God, that's an amazing approach to really, you know, give TDAC a really bite at impacting the downtown market for the downtown. And that's including, you know, the retail vendors, the restaurants, it's everything, just and I love, the whole thing about it being used as a community center or cultural, it has lots of legs to it, so, and then how can we also educate the retail and restaurant teams and businesses about this kind of renaissance that's going to be happening to the downtown, because in all honesty, and I'm being very honest, I travel to a lot of towns and we all visit towns, and sometimes I'm very impressed with other towns that have less assets to the overall architecture and layout of a New England town, and even going out into, Colorado. And I think this is a perfect time for us to piggyback on. We brought the theater up to a certain, well, how do we bring our downtown? And I feel like I'm always beating a dead horse, but things just, the crosswalks, they're impeccable, they're clean, they're painted, the lines are painted, there's no question what line you have to be within. And there's all those little details, it's the sidewalks, it's the, all of that, to me, is what makes a town or a restaurant, when you're in it, you're like, this restaurant's amazing. But you don't, it's a combination of the maitre d', the bartender, the server, the people bringing things, the cleanliness, the bathroom, how it feels when you get welcomed in just to come for your, it's all that. So how do we kind of, and maybe I'm just dreaming, but I just think it's an opportunity to create some uniquenesses. What they're doing with the theater is, how do we make our town unique? We do have uniquenesses in vendors and businesses that are here that are unique. They don't want to be in big box environments. They want to be special. And just like, this theater is going to be very special. It's not going to be just another AMC theater doing movies. So I just think it's an opportunity. And I'm after seeing this and hearing some of the other things, almost I have to reprocess what it looks like. I'm reaching out to the holiday stroll, is how does the holiday stroll maybe just go another notch now with maybe the Playhouse is almost an anchor, because it's going to be the ooh and ah of the town. So how do we make that part of the anchor and for the stroll? And if we do other events, how do we just keep bringing our assets of our town to light more? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no.
And I know it's hard because people's schedules and people working and have jobs and commitments and families and all that kind of stuff. But even if we got into smaller groups, and even if it's 2 to 3 of us, cluster together, spend time, maybe an hour or two, brainstorm, come up with our recommendations or some ideas. And then nobody has to come with a full-blown concept, but maybe a good idea and say, we thought about this, we had 3. This is the one that we felt we'd like to invest in, and we'd like to just share it with you. And then get some feelings and some feedback from the rest of the committee and see if it really resonates with everyone else or other individuals. And then I just love that when we add additional ideas onto the ideas that one group already did. And it's like, oh my God, did we ever think about doing this? And all of a sudden we have something even greater than good if we just did one run as a group.
Yeah, no, I think you make a lot of good points, and I would say that perhaps the next step on that would be for you to just send an email summarizing,
Yep.
quickly in an outline form what you're thinking, and then asking anybody, because I think the small working groups are the way to go.
So I'm just using myself for an example because I know BJ, I've done work with her before, but I literally would stop by her office.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you have a minute?
Right.
And sometimes she said, I'm done in 5 minutes. My client's going to be leaving soon. And and sometimes 15 minutes with somebody in person, when you're focused on it, we get more done than we bring, when we're waiting and people are late, people have to leave early and all those kinds of things. And sometimes if we can just get clusters of movement, clusters of ideas, I think we can really come up with something pretty exciting.
Is the goal to align with the April timing of when the Playhouse opens?
Well, so the April timing is definitely a moving target. I mean, if all goes well, April would be the most optimistic opening. I think this big event, this QT event that he's talking about, I think will be more towards June, just because we have to
Okay.
be on the safe side. So I would think, I'm looking at a, late May, early June kind of splash about everything that's happening.
If it's a
Um,
movie
It
theater,
can't
they
be May
just
31st.
pay,
Well,
so-
it depends,
yeah.
I mean, it depends if
Yeah.
he's successful in getting this, so that will be
Right.
the driver.
It's gonna be May 31st.
Why?
That's the dedication of the Bartlett Center.
Oh,
Would
Oh,
really,
okay.
Yeah, that
not-
was a good holiday. too.
yeah,
Leanne, are you pick a date for that one?
yeah, May 31st. That's
Oh,
why,
great.
when she said late May, early June, just
No, no,
not
no.
May
I'm
31st.
staring in terms of the-
It's the weekend before. It's the Monday before our, yeah.
It's like 26 June.
You're getting this. There's an article that was in the East Hampton paper, I'm gonna share with you. So an organization like this, what they did is they did a walkabout.
Mhm.
I was gonna say,
And
that's,
we saw that.
yeah, I didn't see it, but I think that's a good idea. Everybody should be walking and
So we all.
walk and talks.
Yeah.
And then what you're saying is, the best ideas. come up,
Correct.
But
That's
from
a good idea.
different eyes come different ideas.
Right.
But just so I understand, are you looking to ideate on programming we can put in place? What is it
I'm
you're
not-
trying to hit on?
I think I just want to, if I were to put it in a simple way, is, what's the young man's Luke? Luke, the way he clearly a passionate person about what the project he's working on. As we all get involved in projects, but the thing is that, I think TDAC to me, and I think that's what we started our last meeting, those that were here, is like, what does TDAC like really mean to you, and what do you want it to be that's going to impact the town? And because I think one of your keys is that we wanted to kind of maybe put a focus on truly the downtown community
priority.
and the priority. So with that said, I'm visioning doing something. It could be an event. It could be how we operate business. It could be some newness in how we, instead of doing flower pots, we may do something different.
Right, okay.
And it's like, what are we going to do that when people drive downtown, they're like, wow, New Canaan looks amazing.
You know what happened by accident this fall that did exactly what you're talking about is Laura and I were approached by a woman who wanted to bring breast cancer awareness to the forefront in the downtown. And it just so happened that a million years ago, when I first started the chamber, there was some event at one of the local businesses about breast cancer awareness, and we had literally boxes and boxes and boxes of pink lights.
Yep.
So we went with this woman and we decided we did all, I don't know if you drove down, but the 2 weeks in October, the downtown was
Yeah.
all pink. And then we had these beautiful gift tags on
Yep.
it that people donated, it raised funds for the Breast Cancer Alliance, but so many people were like, whoa, have you been downtown? It's all
Yeah.
pink. Like, how cool is that? So, and that was just by accident.
I think the same kind of thing with, you were talking about the windows,
Yes,
but Dan Henry showed up and said, oh, I have to show you something.
Mhm.
right.
And we got to look at it together and brainstorm and think about that. We would have never come up with that direction of what to do.
Right.
And I think that's what he meant. It's like, little groups of people who say, oh,
Let's do this, let's do that. You know what I'm thinking in terms of the scheduling? If we schedule time for a tour and do the walkabout right after,
Yeah,
or right before,
that'd be a great idea.
if we're all downtown. at the same
Nice.
time.
Laura's picture, I remember actually Laura led a walkabout.
Yep.
The very beginning of TDAC, I kind of remember.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
did. And I've taken the Nature Center staff, I'd take them on walkabouts every once in a while. And actually, we did it years ago with the Grace Farm staff because we have so many people who come to town and they're not from town and they could end up at Grace Farms, and Grace can say to them, oh, when you're going back in, if you're looking for this shop or that, whatever, make sure you stop in the downtown. And same with the Nature
It
Center.
would be fun to come up with, I hate the word ritual, but I was thinking like, I was in Edinburgh this summer and you
Mhm.
have to go to the statue of who's a famous economist, sorry,
Mm.
it was on, and you have to touch his toe. for good
Mhm.
luck. And we go there. And I always say to my clients, what are your Peabody ducks? Have you ever been to Memphis?
Yeah.
So the
The
Peabody
hotel.
Hotel in Memphis, every day at 5 o'clock, the ducks
Yeah,
come
they just come
down.
downstairs.
Oh,
So
how
they all
cool
live
is
on
that?
the roof and they all come down, everybody when you go to Memphis, you
Yep.
have to go to the
Yeah.
Peabody. So is there something like that? we can brainstorm on, like,
Very cool.
because it can't just be, oh, make sure you go get an ice cream here. It has to be,
Yeah.
what's a ritual we can
Yeah.
come up with that brainstorm on? Oh, when you go to New Canaan.
You have to
do
go
this, you
here, you have to experience
stand
this.
on top of
We've
this
got to
rock
come up with
or
something.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
No,
just
that's
trying to think.
excellent.
And I bet everybody here has something that's like, and if
Mm.
we talked about it. and
Mhm.
it's just-
Yeah.
Just brand it, you know, when you go to New Canaan, you have to, and there's this, resort
Affordable
in,
returns.
Rick Caruso's a famous developer out in California, and he built the, Rosewood out there, and the problem was he had a freight train that went right through the property, couldn't get it, he had to build around it, so for most people, it's a problem. Every day at 5 o'clock, when the train goes through, they ring a bell in the bar, everybody has a drink, so they like,
They
took like,
make
Yeah, they make,
the
Yeah.
worst part of it
Right, and
into
made it
something.
something.
So, I don't know,
Very cool.
we have a train.
All right, let's
So,
think
I don't
about
know.
that.
I think that would be a fun assignment for the next, you know,
I
if you're
think
walking
so.
around.
Find what our ritual is gonna be.
does that, anybody else have another approach that they would like to suggest?
I,
We'll follow your lead.
yeah, I
Yeah.
personally think the
All
idea of
this had
getting,
The idea, getting that
Yeah.
walkabout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brains start going, you're so great at that, and just to be able to.
things will jump out at us.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
I mean, we
I
sit and we
really think
talk
so.
about it a lot, but I think you're right, to be boots on the street
Right,
and,
it's like, and I want to see, I like to see downtown the way you see it.
Mhm.
I like to see downtown like, and I may call something out and you're like, I didn't even see that.
Mm,
That's what I'm
And vice
saying, we don't
versa.
have together.
okay.
And what could be important to you, I may be ignoring it, or you see an opportunity in a lamppost or a banner or something or a building. Like,
Ever see that?
Yeah.
another amazing thing would be, you know, I maybe too hokey. If ever outlined, in, you know, very detailed lights on the perimeter of the buildings as you go down Main Street, could look like Disneyland. And it maybe it's too Disneylandish, but I'm just like, what is those
Can't
unique
stop that
things
thought.
that we can do that would make, wow, that's really impressive.
We know how the Empire State Building, you can pay to have the
Oh,
different
yeah.
colors.
Yeah.
What if we did that on the Playhouse? Could we do it like there? and just
See, there you go. And it could be,
people could-
or it could be current events
Right.
that people like, oh my God, I know that they just changed it because of this. And the color happens to be purple because it's, you know, correct. And everybody has like their own little personal thing. And that would be something, oh yeah, our town does this thing.
Yeah.
Now you have to come and visit
It's
us.
really cleverly curated, like pop culture almost.
Mhm.
Like
Or you could
today
do
is
like-
National Hot Dog Day one day, and then another day is Breast Cancer Awareness. I don't know, just
Yeah.
fun stuff.
Or,
Yeah.
I don't know, like a surprise and delight, like maybe we spotlight like one venue that is doing something cool that night.
Yeah,
Right.
And you have to go to town to figure out which one it is.
Oh, that's true, a little.
absolutely.
All right, so I'll schedule I'll try to coincide, I'll find out dates for tour and see if that works for all of us to meet downtown. and Do a little walk around. Oh, excellent.
I would really urge us to have some deadlines for ourselves.
Yes.
Because I do feel like this committee's been meeting a long
No,
time
Yes.
and accomplished very little.
Well, and,
So,
and to that point is that, you know, the funds that we have sort of allocated to economic development, there's a selectmen's budget, but, you know, we have until July 31st to spend them, not just to earmark them, to spend them. So if we are thinking about any of these projects and the costs associated with it, we gotta get cracking.
And I think that you bring up a good point is we can hold each other accountable. Guys, we're not moving.
right.
Like,
Yeah,
and
I'm excited about this, like, Nancy, I haven't been excited in a while about like a direction that we can go on, and I'm excited about this.
I just think we should have some metrics that we
No.
can measure ourselves and our success by something instead of
and
just.
maybe,
Yeah.
if or walk or whatever, we do create our smaller groups. Part of that is our metric is, or how we're going to measure, our, you know,
Well, that sounds like
goalposts
a good
are
idea.
this and this.
I have one idea for a smaller group, which might be relevant to maybe
Yeah.
Kirsten, and so it's like, how do we're focused on the downtown this year, right? But we have all these assets that are not downtown, so how do we drive people
Mhm.
in from the Glass House, from Grace Farms, from Waveney? And one of the ideas I'd love to explore, if we want to create a small group around
Yep.
it, is like setting up a group of itineraries, like you're coming to New Canaan. If you're an outdoorsy person, you might want to start in town, do the Green Link Trail, go to you know, whatever, I know, I hear what you're saying about you don't want to just be like, go to this ice cream
Right,
shop,
right.
but, or, and then maybe there's the arts and culture itinerary or the, you know, so again, driving into downtown, but if anyone wants to explore that, I'd be happy to do a small group
No,
around that,
that's
and it
good.
may be easier for us to hit deadlines if we have more focused subgroups,
But
right?
also, if you look at like photos of some European
Yes,
city,
yes.
there's always, if you have 5 walking tours, what
Exactly.
are you gonna see?
I think the goal would be on our next meeting to have the walkabout take place. And to have had at least one session in terms of the working group with some plan, you know, with a plan, coming up with a plan and what we want to, how we want to achieve that. And so that we can come back to the March 2nd.
I still think we should use some funds for a trolley.
I was just
Right,
gonna
but that's
say-
like
Talk about
bringing
a trolley
people
for
around.
4 years.
Sponsor
Like, if there's a little bit of money, could we try a trolley?
Right.
Just
Like,
on a
even for
weekend.
Once a
Yeah.
month even, like first Fridays or something Saturdays.
The trolley.
A trolley that you could get on and off, so
Love
it
the
would
idea.
start at the train station. I mean,
Yeah,
I guess
maybe
if you
park
drove,
and
you
see
could park
where-
and start at the train station.
Like snacks.
I bet
Yeah,
the
yeah.
realtors would love it, right?
Yeah.
They're just
Yeah,
out there drinking
or you'd
their
have,
coffee.
you'd have the band, you could have, I mean, I think they have the ads like they have on the
But
train
like
on the
the
top of the
Hampton
trolley.
Disney sells
Yeah.
sponsors, so you probably, your liquor business. should do that. Different kind of, but every, and they charge a lot of money. You could wrap it too, sponsor the trolley. And then people could get on it and try whatever the new thing is, whatever anybody's selling, you sell that in.
But I had the idea that you could get on and off, like
No,
if you
that's
get to
what I'm
Grace
saying.
Farms, you may not wanna get on the trolley for 3 hours, but it's on a loop,
Yeah,
so
it goes
you
up
know
to-
when it's
yeah,
coming
it goes
back,
to Grace
yeah,
Farms,
yeah,
they-
yeah.
And with the itineraries, like in addition to trolley, like at some point, you would be like the bike riders. Like, you're gonna
Right,
bike around town
right.
in a safe way. So yes, I hugely. think
Well, if
this
someone could
trolley
do some
would-
research
that
on what this trolley
would cost.
situation would cost and how it would work, you know, Friday, Saturdays,
Do
Sundays.
we know
I don't
any other towns that?
Yeah, Stanford has one.
Oh, really?
Harbor Point Trolley.
Could you use that?
If it was on, if it was on a Sunday,
Here's-
What's that?
Sundays are the Glass House self-guided tour days. So it's the kind of perfect day to be dropped off at the front gates and then get back on. Just saying, if
Yeah.
it could work that way.
Yeah, like that idea for coming, like for the weekend, you can basically book a trolley or get on, know that there's a trolley
Know that you
there.
can
like,
get
you
around
get it
or
at
something.
Macy's.
I wonder if
If
you
you're
need
coming out
to
from the city, you
choose-
don't have a car.
Yeah.
to-
Like,
great idea.
I mean, it would be interesting, I could drive a loop and see how long it would take,
Mhm.
because
Yeah,
maybe you
take
would
it-
need
You have to
2.
account for time of the loading and unloading too.
Yeah.
What's that? Yeah. Yeah.
Might just kill
The
them.
thing I hate about those, cause the town was approached by Bird, it's the scooters.
Yeah.
But they're everywhere. You drive to Fairfield, they're all over the sidewalks.
Mm.
They haven't been Fairfield. I mean, because people just get on them and ride them. I mean, that's a college town to some extent, but I think they are dangerous. I don't like the way they just, you know, land all over. the-
But also we would want something that little kids could get on and off.
Exactly. All right, well, if someone wants to get some information together on a trolley, I'd love to learn more.
I will look into it. I've been obsessed with
All
trolley.
right.
And there is one in Harbor Point.
Okay.
They have
Even do it
2
as an
trolleys.
experiment For a
that
special
they
big
run.
weekend.
And you get on it like.
October 29th.
Right.
Right.
Terrible.
I like that.
Easy.
We
Right.
could do test cases.
Yeah.
All right, Laura, you want to give us an update on downtown?
I do. Well, first of all, I want to follow up on something. You all remember that TDAC funded the Unlocking Connecticut, Bev and Laura, and I took them around. And in their year-end email that they sent out, the Road Trip New Canaan was their highest clicked
Nice.
vlog or feature on their website. So I thought that was great. And then I had them come back and in December and they went to 8 different stores. The individual stores paid them and they did a really great piece on that. In terms of downtown, I'm here. I'm happy to report one of the Main Street vacancies that we've all been staring at right next to Blue Mercury is been leased. It's the gentleman, John Stewart, that ran Stewart Spirits for many years. He and his wife have bought into a franchise, which is the Tea and Spice Exchange. So they're literally, I've met with them. They put an application to join the chamber. They're down in Florida for training. they're hoping to be open this spring, so I think that's a good news. There's a rumor that there's a restaurant that wants to take the Mackenzie space, but I don't, I mean, I heard a deal was in place and that came through the real estate broker, but and someone said there's paper over the windows, so something is happening there. I don't know exactly what it is. Dooney and Burke opened up in December, and they said they had a really great holiday season. There's another Artemisia is in the old Dorothy Mann space. Manfredi opened up with great fanfare there, expanded. And then Van Leeuwen opened up, and I think I got them to the holiday stroll. They weren't ready to open yet, so I told them they could bring their truck for the holiday stroll, and I think that was a big success. So overall, I think things are chugging along. There's still a few vacancies, but I think that's always going to be that way. I think we're closer to 5% versus the 8%, which we were at some point. And when I say that number, I'm speaking only about first floor retail, and it's just based on what I can see and hear. And then there's rumors that the gentleman who's going to open up the French bakery on Burtis, someone said he's back in town and starting to do work there. So that'll be great. So, I think overall things are good. I think a lot of people had a good holiday season. Some said they didn't, so sort of mixed results. But I know like Adirondack Shop was really, really happy. They had a great season. And as you know, we had to move Holiday Stroll to Saturday because it poured rain on Friday, and it worked out okay. It was a little abbreviated, but worked out okay. So overall, I think things are good. Not just status quo, but I think there's some good energy down there. We had a lot of construction work done all summer, and for the most part, that is over. They come back and tweak stuff. It's all underground infrastructure stuff. They were there today a little bit. But the main issue I continue to hear is people complain that they have to pay to park over and over and over again. And stores say, oh, people are running out because they don't want to get a ticket. I would have hoped that the new apps that we put in a couple of years ago would have taken care of that. But, according to the store owners, that's the biggest hindrance to business. And whether that, they
They're
hear it
actually
once or
having-
twice a day.
Is it the parting of the money, or is it just the process of actually going to the machine and putting the money in?
I think,
Cents an hour, is it?
yeah, it's not necessarily the expense. It's I got to go, my meter's running out, which, with the app doesn't really work because you can always just add another quarter onto it or something. So I don't know, that continues to be the overall nagging issue.
Well, in terms of that's an important takeaway. However, if we talk about facts, when you talk to the parking department, I mean, that app, she said, has exploded because everybody's
Yeah,
using
good. Good. No,
Yeah.
it's the way it should be. And I think the problem is when store owners are having a rough couple weeks
They try
and a couple customers complain, they just kind of focus in on, what they're hearing.
Yeah.
But this, Tucker, it's what we hear about all the time. But
Yeah, we do.
no, overall, listen, I think the fact that Bluemercury chose New Canaan to be the first charter store for their complete redo, and Dooney and Bourke picked New Canaan, a very visible, high profile location to put this store. This is their first store that's outside of outlet malls. So, I think the reputation is strong, and it's just getting the right mix of businesses in here. And, we can't wait for the Playhouse, obviously.
So, not me, that representative, but I have two retail spaces that I'm renting, the Garlic and Herbs and where the Jean Jacob Gallery was. And it just interests me, the quality of merchants that are calling, both national chains and also individual merchants that would add greatly to the town. And, they, without the town being perfect, they really are so excited to want to be here, so.
What happened to Jean Jacob Gallery? I like that gallery.
I think he had a change in his life, he had a child, and, you know,
Okay.
he had another job, so I
Okay.
think that's what that was, yeah. So,
Do you have anybody moving in soon or?
well, I have two, I don't wanna say, but I have two
Right,
bids
right.
on it. But
Okay.
what interests me though, again, is like, these are exceedingly, you know, qualified retailers. And you know, they've done a lot of research on Buchanan, and they came in, one national chain I just talked to, when they call, know better about this than me. I mean, they had all the statistical work about how this town draws from Stamford, Wilton. So they have a destination type business, and there's 100,000 people that can come here into all of our shops if we get the well, I think the town is successful, but if you get, the better you get the calibration, the more traffic there is.
And that's a great segue to the business development guide
Mhm.
that is almost at the finish line. So you all know we've been working on this for a better part of a year. And the reason that it went on hold for such a long time was because the town took on OpenGov, which is an online software permitting program. So I didn't want to get this thing all up and running without including that information. So that's been up now for about 6 weeks and it's going strong. So they said we're ready to start, you know, really putting that full force. So, and we're lucky that we have Greg Riley works for the town now, who used to be the advertiser editor, but who's also a grant writer for us. But he's going to proof it all for us and do that kind of thing. So, and I also wanted to wait for the new administration to come in because it's going to have a letter from Deanna. And so anyway, so that is it's exactly what I hope that this guide will be, is for when you've got clients that you're courting, that you can direct them to that. I mean, you say these guys have done their research and they know everything about the town, but I just think what a tool in your tool belt that would be to say, if you haven't already seen it, here's our business development guide, which will take you through the whole process. Should you decide to do business here, you know, if you're opening up a salon, do this. If you're opening up a, you know, leather goods store, do this. kind
Well,
of
I
thing.
use that in, when I talk to these people, but I also say we have a town hall that's willing to help you,
Mhm,
and we hope to have this guide soon,
mhm, mhm.
and their eyes just light up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's appears, and we are a friendly town.
Yeah.
And one thing that has come out of putting the guide together is the website has gotten better.
Yes, because we
And-
revised the website as well.
Yeah, and so that has streamlined and has gotten better. It's just great. It's
Yeah.
great to think that with OpenGov is gonna be
Yeah.
just the
There's a lot
best.
of good stuff happening.
Yeah.
The theater's gonna be massive.
I know. And it's, as Luke pointed out, is the catch area. I mean, you've got Wilton, Weston, Pound Ridge, South Salem, aside from New Canaan, I mean, Darien, obviously, North Stamford, but people will come here. Although I did go for the first time to the Prospector a couple weeks ago.
Where's
I go there
That's
all
the
the
one
time.
in Ridgefield. I
Yeah,
loved it.
it's a great theater.
Yeah.
It's a
it's
really
a
great
nice
theater.
It
It has a
whole
fabulous musical
experience when you
too,
walk
yeah.
in and the kids, so it's run by children and adults with special needs and you're greeted by a couple of people with big smiles,
neat.
welcome to the theater, and you buy your candy or whatever, and it's a real theater experience. I mean, it's the big screen and all that.
They actually have one theater that's all Eames chairs.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
There's
wow.
only like 10 seats in the whole theater. They're all these Eames chairs, yeah.
Well, wait till you see the chairs that are going in this theater. In fact, they loved them so much, they're these Polish designed chairs, and they loved them so much, they were just talking them up that at the Dome, the new planetarium, that's the other thing that's just come online that we need to talk about, is that planetarium over at the high school that's just been completely rebuilt. It's the only planetarium around, except for the Arboretum one, but they bought those same chairs because they're so comfortable, but they're
And then you can lie back, yeah.
yeah, I mean, they're not like a big lazy boy like the AMC ones, but they're sleek, sort of red, velvety kind of a chair, but very comfortable, but looking very cool.
Is the dome open to the public or do you have to be a student?
Not yet. No, it will definitely be open to the public.
Okay.
Right now, this is the, yeah, it was,
Yeah, there's,
yeah. They had to make a decision when they built the high school way back when, pool, planetarium, and somehow the planetarium won out. And it's a very cool, unique thing to have, but it just needed to be upgraded. It's, and you can do, surround sound, what's that? Surround sound, what's it
Yeah.
called, where you do the.
Will they let people rent that out too?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been very cool. So anyway, I digress. But so that's sort of the update on the business development guide. But I had a thought along these lines, but also with other things that we're doing. Do you think there's any appetite, or do you think that it makes sense for TDAC to embark in some sort of a photo contest. And I say this because we're constantly looking for content for photos for all of our marketing. I mean, I have a bunch of photos that I've accumulated over the years as part of the work at the chamber. But we did it, the last time we did the POCD, I think which was in 2011, market demand study. We had a photo contest and we got the most amazing photos that people were just sending in. I mean, basically everyone's got an amazing
Right.
camera in their hand these days, right? And I was walking my dog yesterday and the sun was coming up in the snow. There was this orange on the snow. And I was like, oh, what an,
I
like,
think
that's
people
such a
would
great.
love that, but you could just do like once a month, there's a drawing, like, it's,
Yeah.
there's a raffle item, and people don't really care that they get this. sort of
Right,
win.
well, and they want the recognition,
Yeah,
and I know there's a couple of the newspapers would, so I was thinking of just looking along the lines of just trying to start up, but I think you're right, I mean, maybe a monthly. Yeah,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
submit your,
Yeah.
the month's photos.
You know, your standard communication vehicle that, might be a very good source to be able to.
Well, that's
know,
what
and
kind of
that's
started this, so Deanna has also, one of her priorities is to do a monthly, if not more often, newsletter.
Where would those pictures be shown?
Anywhere and everywhere. So when you
Yeah.
send them to us, we could lend them out to, I mean, if a magazine called and wanted pictures,
your
their stock
Instagram.
photos, we would use them certainly for our Instagram, for our business development guide, for our website, for, you name it.
So,
Yeah.
I would think, one thing, town probably like, enjoy looking at themselves, so either an empty store or even at the movie theater,
Yeah.
having a screen and having the pictures of people.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
just
like
have one of
before a
those,
movie
yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
just rotating through.
Yeah, I think,
Because you want the people to see these things.
Right.
yeah,
Right.
but I think Cinnamon Labs mentioned that they would love to have,
As part of the,
yeah.
that's the other thing I like about the
they
prospectors,
did,
there's no
they-
previews.
the
Oh,
Playhouse
that's
people.
nice.
Oh, well, that.
When the movie
that's-
starts at 7:15, when it says the
That's
movie
really
starts at
nice.
7:15,
About
the
20
movie
minutes
starts at
before. Oh, that's
7:15.
really nice. Okay.
Well, they have a long trailer about their mission.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
But-
that's true. All right, I'll write up something just on how to get a photo contest going, because I could see us using a lot of that,
It's like,
yeah.
a lot of newspapers have this of the day or.
Yeah.
specific week.
Yeah, photo of the month.
But even to your point, if it was a winner, Carl Chevrolet, celebrates blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
a picture, that could be a little person, it could be an adult.
Yeah.
Right,
Professional
and every month you
photographer.
have a different sponsor. and you
Yeah.
have a gift certificate,
Yeah.
Car detail, I don't know.
Yeah, they do a bunch of different things.
Photo's worth 1,000 words, right?
Yeah, just use this example.
Because screens have become part of architecture. So with your idea of having people come to see something, that could be incorporated into a screen. Yeah, like come down to, I'm gonna go look at the screen today.
Right.
That's
Well, it's
so
kind of like when you
exciting.
go to a sport thing, and you're like, am I gonna end up on the jumbotron?
Right.
Yeah.
Or even when you're in Times Square, and you
Yeah.
look up and
Oh,
you see them waving. stuff like
Right.
that. Yeah, right. That's the last thing we need. Jack, you want to give us a quick update on cultural? history?
Yeah, so I've been working on this and, I've been talking to people about it. I'm kind of still in a work mode on this. So I'm working on a cultural district and trying to understand it better and define it. So that's kind of where I am. So a cultural district is a specific area of a city or a town identified by the municipality that has a number of cultural facilities, activities, and or assets, both for profit and nonprofit. It is walkable. It's kind of like, in my thoughts, I'm thinking now, my idea is maybe making a centralized business district a cultural district, and I don't know how we can use it. I don't have an answer for that. But a compact area that is easy for visitors to recognize. It is a center of cultural activities, artistic and economic. It is a place in your city where community members congregate and visitors may enjoy those places that make a community special. And we have a lot of that here, especially downtown. And so that's what I'm kind of working on, and it's just a work in progress. Anybody wants to, again, talk about it, I'd be happy to do that.
This is a follow-up
You
to,
sound like a special, he sounds like a, subcommittee.
yeah, well, he's been working on it with Susan Spitzer.
Yeah.
And it's something that Laura and I had explored a while back, and so we're just trying to finish it off and see if it's something that's appropriate here.
And I do know there's no grant money for it now. I did talk about that, and So it's just kind of a work in progress, but it could be useful.
Right.
And before I move on from it, that's what I'm trying to understand, whether anyone would see great value.
Susan's not here, but I'd hoped that she was going to give us an update on the P O C D, but she did send something out to us. Susan Schweitzer
Yeah, she did.
on the P O C D, just that process is moving along.
It's not
Um,
out.
Oh, no, 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 no. No, 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 there's still, there's another public engagement opportunities coming up. So just keep looking on the website. And the other thing, back to the newsletter, is one of the issues or one of the challenges getting this newsletter going is getting the email addresses to send it to. So we currently have over 22,000 emails, but like I have 5 emails in there, right? I mean, I've got a Yahoo, a Gmail. So what we're going to do is we are going to take all the email addresses that we have and email everybody and say opt in, right, for the newsletter. We're going to do that 2 times. And if it's something that you want and want to stay informed, opt in and you'll be getting it. And that will be a great chance for us to talk about all the different things that are going on, whether it's POCD or things that TDAC's doing or whatever. But so when that happens, tell everybody to sign up because you're really going to want to know what we're up against here.
If you wouldn't mind when you're ready to send that, because that's the kind of thing like for our older members, if it's in my newsletter and says, you're going to be getting this from the town, please opt in if you're interested. Like they may not look at a huge blast like that, but they're sort of
So you could
used to
encourage
getting
them.
something on a Friday from me.
Just that's like women empowering women and all the other nonprofits.
And
That's a
library,
great idea.
Wampum, and
Yeah.
Library,
everybody.
all that. Ooh,
Yeah. Yeah. It just-
And the link, if you're not on the list, if you would like to sign up.
Right, that's the other thing, right, and we have, it's funny, when you look at the map of all the people that we have people that are in our emergency database in Florida, in Oregon, but we found out they have parents who live here, and so they want to know what's happening,
what's
if
going
we're having a power outage, or if there's a cancer screening, or the flu clinics, or COVID, testing or whatever. So it's really
Where do
important.
you get these addresses from? People give it to you?
Well, we have them, so we're allowed to use the emergency database. So a lot of people have opted in already, and we've capitalized on a couple of crises, COVID being one of them. When the train system was changing up, things like that, we emailed everybody and said, get on this, stay notified. It's on the website, and so we have those email addresses. We're going to use that as a base to start, and then ask people to opt in. You are allowed legally in an emergency to use any and all emails that you have, whether it's your transfer station or your Parks and Rec or your Board of Education or whatever. If it's a true emergency, tornado's coming or whatever, you're allowed to use everything in your power to get the word out.
And phone numbers do you have?
You can, so there's 3 different ways. You can, the way we have the emergency piece of it broken out is that we have just a gentle email. Here's what's going on. Then you can opt to have email and text. The text would be a little more, hey, and then a link to an email. And then the phone call is sort of it's big. You need to listen to us. Oh, yeah, part of it, yeah.
But to your point, I mean, the 23,000 people are on that and willingly.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel.
But it's not 23 individual people.
Correct.
Right.
Correct, but I could see that carrying over to wanting to be part of this.
Right.
I think the part, and rightly so, that you've been grappling with is you need to keep the thought different.
Yeah.
Because emergency is one thing, but this is more community related.
Totally.
Yeah.
So different buckets. And then, this newsletter will also be available to CDAC, when we've got something that we want to
Yeah.
promote, the different boards and commissions will be able to have a column and speak about things that are going on. All right, what's going on over at Grace Marks?
I actually left the brochures I meant to give you for the next upcoming season in my car. We have a ton of events coming up. This weekend is actually pretty big. Tomorrow night, unfortunately, this is something we can all work on too in small groups, as we have a event conflicting with the library event tomorrow night. We have the chairman of the International Peace Institute at Grace Farms interviewing artist who's recently published a book with a foreword by King Charles. really honoring women who've survived through tremendous conflict in different regions of the world and their stories. And that's tomorrow night. Then this weekend, we have a great concert as part of our Voices of Culture series and a special workshop with the artist as well earlier in the day. So we've been leaning into that musical programming because the audience has been telling us that it works and they love it. So there'll be more of that sprinkled over the next few months. But I will make sure to bring the guides to the next one. I can even send an email out with a link. We have a great new automated calendar. Before I worked at Grace Farms, I always had a little bit of trouble trying to like categorize, okay, all the justice events, that's what I want to go to, get those on my calendar, sign up. The new calendar is much better with that. So if you're interested in certain field, certain part of our programming, just arts or just music or just community, you can filter.
Nice. Okay. And I should have introduced, Kirsten, I'm so sorry, who's been sitting here. So you all know Greg Sages was our good friend here at TDEC. And now you've been here how long?
Just about 4 months.
Okay, and how's it going?
Great. We've got so many projects, it really was just a deep dive right into things. The brick house restoration is underway. It's about halfway through. Our season opens April 15th. It is our 75th year of the Glass House. It was built in 1949. And so we've got a lot of programs that we're putting together of talks, of performances and events through the year. Our main opening event for the season will be April 30th. That will be the unveiling of the brick house, and also the architect Shigeru Ban is doing a year-long installation on the site. So April 30th will be our press event, and then a afternoon evening reception. After that, we've got some lectures happening both on site and at the library, which we've been partnering with very successfully. And then June 8th is our big 75th anniversary summer party.
What's the date on that?
June 8th.
June 8th. Okay, good to know. All right, and you've got, everybody should be getting all these dates on Laura's community calendar.
Okay.
That's how she's keeping track of everything.
Will do.
All right. Katie, is your baby all right?
Yes.
So you all, those of you that were here, was it the last meeting you'd had the baby, so it must have been the meeting before that, I think. I can't remember. Yeah.
When I was
Okay.
pregnant.
You were pregnant. Now she has a baby. So Katie's going to join us and be sort of our at-large, average consumer, sees things from a different perspective. We're all wrapped up in our different little businesses, and you're going to be out there, looking at it from a bird's eye view of a young mom and telling us everything that we're doing. So, especially with that new baby, I keep looking out and I see the
The
ballerina. The
dancers.
dancers, they keep jumping up, and I keep thinking that something's happening out there. Like, what's going on? And BJ, you're busy? Got a million things going on?
We've got million things. I'm interested in how there was this huge flurry of activity for nonprofits
Yeah.
last year with all the events. And now what I'm seeing is they've calmed down a little bit and they're starting to get their usual events and different things that are happening. So that was pretty surprising because last year,
Yeah.
like so many different events,
Right.
that we're so happy for them.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised. People are moving into town. There's new office people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it feels really good.
And Alan, what are you seeing in your world?
Busy. I mean, business is still really strong.
Travel
Is still really big.
Yeah.
Hotels, people are, last week I was in Grand Cayman, Palm Beach, and Orlando.
Mm.
Every airport packed. Everything's packed. And just here, like New York is really busy too. I'm there 3 days a week and the trains are busy. Like
Yeah.
tonight I was on like the 5 something, every seat taken. So, I mean, it's interesting to see.
People are
Mondays
back
and
to
Fridays,
work.
lots of
Yeah,
people
Mondays and
back to
Fridays, but
work.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, people are back in the
People are back
office.
to work. They really are.
Yeah.
They really are. So it's
Right.
really
And the stock market's going gangbusters.
I know. They said
Okay.
today, you can actually look at your 401k now.
Yeah,
Wow.
no, it's about it.
That would have been scary before.
John, you have anything to add?
I'm just living the life of retirement and
Oh.
spending, I spend my Mondays and Fridays in New York with my 99-year-old dad. So he invented the July 4th, what's it, the hot dog eating contest.
Oh,
in
he
Naples.
did it for Naples?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, my gosh.
So,
99.
90
Good genes.
well, I hope so.
Yeah, we want to.
All right, so our takeaways are Nancy's gonna look into the trolley idea. I'm gonna look into, I'm gonna finish up this business development guide, but most importantly is I'm gonna get a date for us to have a tour and a walkabout. You're gonna finish up on some of the cultural guide to see what you can figure out on that. Everybody should be thinking about, I love this ritual idea, just something that could become. So I walk with friends over at Irwin all the time, and we have a joke that when we come around by the main gate, there's a big rock, and every time we make a loop, we kick the rock. And we just walk again, and everybody stops and we kick the rock, but something simple like that, that just becomes the thing.
I think it's the general
That's it, good luck.
Just to add to the brainstorming, because I was asked by one of the selectmen about possible other uses for the Growers Pavilion. And that seems to me with October for Design, some of the other stuff that TDEC's doing, I mean, that sits there. I think we're gonna try and figure out with the town a better use agreement that makes it more accessible, but then, okay, so it's more accessible, what do we wanna do with it? So if anybody has thoughts about that, it just reminded me when you're saying you're walking in Irwin, because there it is. It's beautiful, it's a museum. There's a permanent exhibition that the, man who used to run the Connecticut Department of Culture and Tourism gave us after it ran up there. So that's permanently installed. And then there's a little changing gallery space. But it is really underutilized for the beautiful building that it is. And I mean, for anybody that has any kind of mobility challenges, it's far, but for a lot of people, it's really not that far from downtown. I mean, it's like, it's like less than 5 New York blocks.
It's fully accessible though, right? If you parked at Irwin.
Oh, if you parked at Irwin, but I'm saying if you
Get it,
took the
walk-
train,
Yeah.
even if you're just walking up, I mean, there's sidewalks, there's a flashing light crosswalk, so it's an easy crosswalk, and then there's sidewalks all the way into Irwin Park.
Right.
So it's really, well, yeah. I'm telling you, you're all gonna buy into my trolley.
I don't have to take the driver.
Yeah.
It's not a driver, we have to be the tour guide. As I've said a million times, I feel like we've said so many great ideas, so many things. We just have to figure out how to get all of this, get a couple of these ideas off.
Said that, and it's the same.
Right.
They get on the trolley and
right.
tell you
Everything about New Canaan.
Exactly.
I'm always learning more about New Canaan. All right, went a little bit longer than we thought. Thank you, those of you that are remote. We'll see you next time. Take care. Okay. Thank you.